Hi, welcome. My name is Samir Dalakia, CEO of VMLogix. Welcome to today's whiteboard discussion. Today we're going to talk about how you can use virtual lab automation technology in both private and public cloud computing environments to help you deliver and maintain software applications more cost-effectively, more quickly, and more reliably. As most of you know, in software engineering organizations, there's been a dramatic increase in complexity. So in the old days, software used to be rather simple. We had a mainframe. Then over time, we moved to client-server. Software continued to get more complex, and we started to move to N-tier applications. And now it's highly common to have SOA-based architectures where there may be lots and lots of pieces of software resident across a whole variety of physical machine infrastructure in order to deliver an end user or IT service. Virtual lab automation takes this physical infrastructure on premise and puts it into a private cloud. And that private cloud can have lots of these physical machines that have been virtualized, and some of those may be running ESX, they might be running Citrix XenServer, they might be running Microsoft Hyper-V, they could be running KVM, but all of them get virtualized and can be provided to end user communities like developers, testers, and so on and so forth, who can now access this centralized pool of resources via a self-service portal to provision for themselves precisely the environments that they need in an on-demand fashion exactly when they need them, without any interaction or delays based on waiting for IT to be able to provision the environments. Because what happened in the old world, in this physical machine environment, when you had this degree of complexity in software, every time a developer or tester wanted an environment to be able to do their work, they would submit a request to IT to provision that environment. That request could literally take hours, if not days, in order to be delivered back to the end user. What we're moving to here is more of an ATM-like fashion, in which the user can come and self-service provision the environments that they need, but IT still controls via policies precisely what the end users are able to provision for themselves. They can set restrictions and quotas based on things like number of virtual machines that any given user can use, how much storage they could use, how much memory they could use. In fact, they can also include lease times to say any given user can only use the virtual machine for an hour, for 5 hours, for 2 days. They can set whatever determinations, whatever parameters they would like, but this allows IT to hand control back over to the users while still controlling the amount of infrastructure that is consumed. This provides a number of benefits to end users, not the least of which is speed and getting access to the environments they need. Because they're using virtualization, there are a number of other key benefits that are simply not possible in the physical machine world. So hopefully that gives you a sense of some of the value propositions that virtual lab automation has brought to companies in on-premise private cloud environments. And it's been transformational for many a software engineering organization, certainly among VMLogix customers. That said, there are still challenges that remain, particularly around the amount of infrastructure that you might need for your software engineering team at any given time. So fundamentally, the IT organization has to decide at the outset, in any given time period, how many of these virtualized hosts should be in their environment in order to accommodate the needs of all of these end users. The challenge with that is that the demand pattern from these users is highly volatile. So what our customers are asking for now is the ability to leverage all of that on-premise infrastructure, but combine it with the benefits of a public cloud. So let me describe to you a challenge and decision that somebody in your IT organization might have to make with regard to IT lab infrastructure. And the fundamental decision is how much capacity is enough. The challenge that your IT operations folks have is that demand patterns in a pre-production lab environment are highly volatile, highly sporadic. very difficult to predict. And so the IT folks can make a number of different decisions. They could pick some line here that would be characteristic of steady state. It would satisfy the needs of the users most of the time. But the rest of the time, when you hit these peak requirements, users will be frustrated. That typically doesn't go over very well with the end user community. So the other alternative decision they can make is to build capacity to peak demand, which is terrific from an end user perspective, but the IT operations folks are typically going to be getting yelled at by somebody in management or the CIO for wasting all these resources when they're being underutilized because this demand pattern is fluctuating so greatly. Many organizations we're talking to are looking to the public clouds as a way to alleviate this specific problem. There are a number of characteristics of public clouds that are terrific for this particular problem. Number one is elasticity, which means that the public clouds can allow organizations like yours to be able to scale up and scale down the amount of compute and storage resource you need at any given time. Number two, the public clouds are in a pay-as-you-go model. That pricing model is quite innovative and quite important when you have this degree of volatility. If you're only paying at these levels when you are at them, you're saving all of these areas of wasted utilization, which is an incredible economic windfall for an organization with this degree of volatility in their demand patterns. The final benefit is just the pure scalability of the public cloud. It would simply be impossible for most organizations to build out the scale of infrastructure that a public cloud provider like an Amazon Web Services has available to a software engineering organization. So if you wanted to run massively parallelized testing, you could never do it in an on-premise fashion. You could never justify the investment in those resources for the 1 hour of testing that you needed. But when you can access it in an on-demand way and pay as you go with Amazon Web Services, it's a perfect answer. This is why VMlogix has enabled its lab management solution, which has historically been focused in on-premise lab environments and private clouds, with the exact same virtual lab management capabilities out into the public clouds. Thanks for joining us today to learn about VMlogix Lab Manager and how you can use virtual lab automation technology in both private and public cloud computing environments. We hope that you'll come learn more about us and the solutions at www.vmlogix.com and to sign up for our beta program of the newly released VMlogix Lab Manager Cloud Edition. Thanks and have a great day.